and see. I'm considering upgrading my SR6015 to the Cinema 50. Are you guys aware of any issues with the Cinema 50? Other than the price being way too high? Nothing other than that. I mean, I'm looking at it right now, 25 hundo. Are you out of your mind? Why are you laughing over there, Joe?
Why? Was that too much?
I think so. Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. This is way too expensive.
Why is it too expensive?
If you looked at the stats, right?
Okay.
2,500. If you want Dirac, you still got to pay that extra Dirac price, right?
Okay, so
9 channels of power, 11 channels of processing. So you can't even do one box 11 channels. And if you were to step it up to the where's the share screen? If you were to step it up to the Cinema 40, you gotta pay another $1,000, bro. Like, are you out of your mind? And we're still only at 11 channels of processing. And I know, a lot of you love that, what does Marantz do over there? They give you, they add a little distortion to give it that signature sound, right? A lot of you are into that. You like that, cool. Not saying anything about it, but, the Denon one will process 13 channels and give you 11 channels out of the box. Again, the SR6015 I never had, but I had the SR7015, which is equivalent to the Cinema 40. The only thing you're going to get, really, that you're going to notice out of the difference between the 6015 that you already have is the menu system, the HDMI 2.1 on all HDMI inputs. So if you have Xbox Series X, PS5, what is the other RTX graphics card computer? Then cool. Other than that, I don't think you're gonna. I honestly don't think you're gonna notice a huge difference unless the 6015 cannot process 11 channels. Because that's one thing I'm not 100% sure about.
Well, this is a good lead up to this, because one of the questions I had was this. Why aren't people buying more of these inexpensive 16-channel processors? These came out about 2 years ago. So do you remember when these came out, like the Tone Winner AT-300, right?
Yeah, and the IOTA or whatever.
So if you look at this thing, right? So this is 16 channels and just a preamp. XLR.
Yeah.
Is it both XLR and RCA?
Yeah, I think so. Unless they give you options for like 10 analog inputs.
So
like,
16 channels
specifically for Aaron.
Yeah, right.
Atmos. What does this say here?
These damn flies.
So it's only HDMI 2.0. But my question is, if you don't care about Auro 3D upmixing or DTS, and I assume the menu system is gonna, I've seen it on this. It doesn't look as polished as, it doesn't look like Denon or Marantz. I mean, not that theirs is great. The older ones, the newer ones look nicer.
You know what it looks like? It looks like the Trinov wireframe of the render. That's what it looks like.
The wireframe. Which other one doesn't look that impressive, though? I mean, the Nakamichi Dragon, that interface isn't the best one that I've seen. That thing's expensive.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great.
Looks basic.
It's not
it
like
looks super basic.
It's not like the new Denon. It's not like the new Denon Marantz one.
So my question to people is, why aren't more people buying these? Like when I go into the forums, it's not like I hear a ton of people like, oh yeah, I just bought this. I bought this. This one, what do you think about this pricing? You said the other one's too expensive. So this one's 16 channel.
That's a great price. I mean, but now you have to add in the amplification. Let's say if they wanted class AB, how much is that OSD one that we used?
I think it's like $800 or $900 for 7 channels.
Okay, so you get that.
That's a legit amp, though. That's a legit.
So you get that, and then you get a 4-channel or a 5-channel to run all 16 channels. Then what?
Mm-hmm.
Then what are we at price wise? We're over to we're essentially at the same price, right? 2,500.
Okay.
Right.
But that's that's a lot more power, right?
That's a ton more power.
Yeah.
Because you're not having that what do you call it? Oh, you know what? And it's 16 channels. So ostensibly, you could get 2 7 channels. What is that? 14.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to run middle heights in a 716 or front wides in a 914, then you can do that. There's a rooster next door fucking going off over here.
11. Let's see. So you need 6. So what if you bought like these? I know you don't love these, Aaron, but if they made a better version of these, I don't know. No, these,
yeah.
Right? So these have look XLR, right? Yep. And so each of these is 2 channels. It's $109. If you got 6 of those, that's 12 channels of amplification, right?
For under $700.
Yeah,
it's a lot of. You are Joe. You are taking up a whole lot of plug points, though. You know.
Yeah, I mean, so what though? So what? It's gonna look cool. You're running a bunch of it'll look cool.
Mono blocks.
What's wrong with that?
I think a lot of it is people want to flex on everybody in the Facebook group. Oh no, I got the silver Marantz. You only got the regular color, right? And then you'll be like, "Show, I got mono blocks, all 13 channels, 16 channels. What?"
Yeah, you can run these like mono blocks.
Mono blocks. They'll be like, "My mono block's bigger than yours." Oh, it's a flex, dude. It's a flex, right?
But if you didn't care about that stuff, right? I think if you're gonna buy a tone winner, you're probably not one to care about flexing. You're just like, I want Atmos. I want it to sound good, right?
I would go with this $1,899 for a Denon X6700H. Got 13 channels of processing, 11 channels amplification. If you want to up, externally, go for it. But that's what I would do. I wouldn't spend $2,500 on a Marantz. But again, if you like that distortion, warmth, whatever they call it, the H dam, you want that dam. You can take as many dam photos as you want.
Don't you think though, if you're running this realistically, if you're running that hard with all 11 channels on a regular basis, is that going to be good for that thing?
And imagine all 11 speakers are 4 ohm. Oh,
is that going to be good?
Be like,
I've always said like, don't worry about it. I always thought, don't worry about it. If you're going to use subs, you're not going to be pushing it that hard. But after this 4700H stopped working, I'm like, maybe it's not capable of putting out enough power
your speakers
safely.
Large? Are your speakers set to large?
No, they're all crossed over.
What if you were to do that? What if you were to do that? All 11 speakers set to large and just crank it and see what happens with the internal amps too.
Game over. Right?
How quickly would that shut off? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, game over. So anyway, I think maybe I was wrong. I think that's what I'm saying right now is I was wrong because I used to think just use the internal amplification, cut it off at 80 hertz. You're probably not using a ton of power. And maybe that is true. But I think the thing that you have to consider is the lifespan of that piece of hardware. Like if it's going to get messed up and you're going to have to send it in for repair because it got too hot, right? There's probably not enough cooling unless you're going to invest in one of those AC-finity things and keep everything nice and cool. Maybe that would work, but it's just something to consider. Like how long is this thing going to last?
Sure.
Anyway, he said, hell, car audio apps survive in trunks. Throw a fan on that thing.
Yeah, you just got a Hawk 2 on that.
On that thing. Yeah. Dude, that sound stream that I used to have was hot. I think it was a Class A amp. I don't know if it was Class A. It was super hot. Do you know, Aaron, those old Soundstream? They were called Class A.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They were hot as hell.
Yeah, dude. They would, yeah. Those things.
Hot, I had like scary. Like I thought it could catch fire.
Yeah, I had a pair of custom ones running some high sensitivity horns, just because everything else was too noisy for them. But yeah, got
like the old sounds. I'm talking about those car audio ones that were like silver. They're called the Soundstream Class A, and they were called cheater amps, where like they're meant to run at like 1 ohm or and below 0.5 ohm, all silly.
Yep.
Anyway,
I definitely remember those.
Hot as hell. I had to put an external fan on top of it because I was too scared. Like I got like a computer fan and like rigged something up so it was just like blowing air on it. I'm like, hell no, I'm not gonna burn down my car for this.
Your car's going
They
to
were
fire.
so hot, bro. Like to the point where like if your arm would touch that thing, like you're burning your arm.
Yeah,
No.
definitely could with some of those.
That's
Yeah,
a good
dude.
video idea. I broke my Denon receiver. What's up, everybody? Check it out. I got it smoked.
Well, so back to the original question: why do you think that more people aren't buying those amps? And I have a
Wait, is it the amps or the processor?
Or
What are
sorry,
we
the
talking about?
processor, 16 channel processor, super cheap. You think it's because they have to get amplification and the cost starts to go up?
Yeah, I mean you're now at the price of that Cinema 50 we just looked at, but you have a lot more power. You know.
Well, the funny thing though is, aren't Denon and Marantz pre-pros more expensive than the corresponding AVR?
Of course. Well, Denon doesn't make a pre-pro because then that would probably cannibalize the sales of the Marantz pre-pro.
Correct.
The Marantz, Cinema, or no, the AV10, and then the previous one of that was the 8805A, and then the lower one, that was the 16-channel one. The lower one, which I still have in storage somewhere, the 7706. But you noticed it, Joe, right away. It's the XLR, the balanced XLR connections. You know,
I like that.
It's like you're like probably getting rid of some noise floor due to those connections.
Make sure to check out our audio-only version of the podcast at anchor.fm/Daily Hi-Fi, or just go to your favorite podcasting service and search for Daily Hi-Fi.